Hey, it's the Beauties and the Chief.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on? What is going on? We got Cammie, we got Mickey.
Howdy. Hey.
All right. You know what I forgot to do too? So remind me at the end if there's anything you want to pitch on anything, whatever's going on. Don't forget, especially I know with your cosplay.
Thank you.
If I forget, you can just elbow me and do that. So today, the Beauties and the Chief are talking about our top 5 two-player games. Now, first of all, what's interesting is there's not a lot of rules or hey, it's this. So it could be strictly two-player games, or you might it might play up to 4. I've got a few of those, but you like it as a two-player game.
Right. You like it better than a 4-player.
Or you think it works better.
Some games
way.
are like that.
I agree, 100%. So why don't we just kick off with you, and we'll kind of slide down as we go.
All right. So my number 5 is Arboretum. It does play 2 to 4, so it is one of those not strictly two-player games. But number 1, it's a beautiful game. So that influences me as well when the artwork is nice and, you know. So this is a game where you're playing with cards that have different trees on them, and you're forming kind of a tableau in front of you. And the goal is to get the most points based on how you lay out your cards. So you're having to play down cards that help you gain points in your tableau, but you also want to keep some cards in your hand that will help maybe negate some points or different ways that the other player could score. So you're trying to kind of figure out what they're going for based on what they've put down, based on the number of cards that are out in the different suits in the game, what they could possibly be holding back in their hand as well. So
Those are fun.
Yeah. I thought it was really fun. The cards are really pretty.
Let me see one of these cards.
Yeah, you bet.
Because now I'm thinking I haven't played this.
That's good.
And these pretty little cards.
Yep. So an example would be you've got different types of trees and they have different colors. And they've got the name of the tree species on them. But you could, you're going to play your first card down, but you could create kind of a row. Everything has to be in order for it to score. So got 2, 4, 8. And let's say here's my 1. So because I have the same tree at the beginning and end of this chain, I can score it. Doesn't matter what's in between. So anytime you place a card, it has to be adjacent. So I could score that. Well,
Really?
actually I couldn't because it's not in order, but yeah,
Gotcha,
if that was the right
I see
kind of
what
card.
you're saying.
Yeah.
So you can really strategically place things.
So everybody's playing into the same kind of tableau?
You have your own.
That's your own tableau.
You have your
Okay.
own that you score. But the thing that's special about certain cards is if you have a 1 or an 8, they can do certain things to help you keep someone else from getting all the points that they're going to score. Because you actually have to have the highest value of a certain color of card in order for that to score in your tableau. So there's some pretty deep rules to this to consider. So it's not just, you know, a really light card game, but it still plays pretty well.
The strategy of it does actually get pretty deep.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was thinking about this game when I did my anatomy and physiology test on nerves, and in your cerebellum is the arbor vitae, so it looks like a tree.
Nice.
Yes, very neat. Wow, that is
Yeah,
cool.
there's some definite strategy to it, what you hold back, how you're going to be able to score, what you see on the other person's tableau.
Cool.
It's a good one.
All right, we'll move to my 5. Now, I'm going to make a little disclaimer because I can hear the kids making a little bit of noise upstairs. We are filming before they have gone to bed. Now, we've put out the call of on air, but 9 and 7, and my youngest has Down syndrome, so you may hear some noises on occasion or a little ting of a glass or whatever. Please roll with it. Okay, roll with it. Now, all right, I'm also wearing my boonie hat. I had this before I was in the Army, but then I actually wore it when I was in the Army a little bit. I got my specialist rank, and it's very apropos because my number 5 is actually a war game, Conflict of Heroes. I love the whole system, but I'll just go with Awakening the Bear as the very first from Academy Games. It's the whole 1941, Germany invades Russia, Operation Barbarossa, and there's this whole 41, 42, and 43, which is just, it's a war conflict game, but it plays really, really well. Two-player game. It's really designed as a two-player game. You can do a few things with it in order to pair up, but you have a scenario. One side's playing the Germans, the other side's playing the Russians, World War II. I love the whole series. The only thing I wish is that more of them would come out. They're so close to a Guadalcanal, which is going to put it in the Pacific for the first time, and I'm like, come on. But I think we've been waiting 4 or 5 years.
Oh,
come
wow.
on. Ooh. So, all right. So, my number 5, Conflict of
Very
Heroes.
nice. I like history games. Those are fun.
Love it. Love World War II.
So my number 5 is Patchwork by Rosenberg, and I like the geometry of it and trying to get your patches without any holes and using the buttons and everything like that. And of course, it is a Rosenberg, so.
Cool. Wonderful. Yeah, great game. I know that's kind of hot right now, too. Is
yeah.
it currently, I know, whenever you see this, is it currently out of print or is it out? Do you know?
We own it. That's all I know.
Gotcha. So you're good. You're probably early adopters.
Yes. Yeah.
You're
No.
early
Like
adopters.
early.
Very good. Yeah, you guys get stuff way before.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Number 4.
Alrighty, my number 4 is Quinto. We actually have, it's a German copy of the game, so I don't know if it's in print right now, accessible. We had an order from Germany come in with a bunch of small pack games, so this was a
guys are
fun
good
one.
at that.
Yes, you guys are like world travelers.
So this is a little dice game, and I first played it with 2 players, but it goes, I think, up to 6. Yeah, it goes all the way up to 6. So you have 3 different colored dice, and you have to decide on each roll whether you're going to roll all of the colors, 1, 2, whatever combination, because you've got a little chart that you're going to fill out, and I think you can see it here in the background, that correspond to the dice colors. And you have to plot whatever you rolled, the number that you rolled, on those colored tracks in sequential order. And in order for you to score, you have to fill in either all of the row perfectly. There's different shapes in the row that you can score points for. So you're trying to roll the dice in the way that will get you the best chance of scoring the most points.
And it looks completely language independent.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, awesome.
It's a fun one.
Numbers.
Yeah.
The universal language.
Yeah. No, and it's super easy to teach, but there's still a little bit of depth to it. But it's a good filler game. You know, if you've got 2 people that are waiting for a group to finish up another game at board game night, it's been a fun one for that.
Break it up.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, my number 4, 2-player game, Star Realms. Tiny little card game, deck building game, and I have the app for my iPad.
Oh.
And Bo and I, my 9-year-old, and I've had it for a couple years, we can rip through game after game after game, and he'll just be like, hey, let's play. We'll set it up. Of course, because of that, travels well. I actually don't own a physical copy, and I've gotten so used to being able to just do it online. I
yeah.
get all the expansions as soon as they bring them out, but it just handles 2 players so well. Like most deck builders, the turns are short and fast, and then you can get those awesome chaining events that happen with draw another card, draw another card, draw another card. So really, really great game. If you like that deck building feel and take it into space,
Card
does
battle
a wonderful job.
And the app, the other thing is you can take your turn and then just let it sit and then come back to it when you're ready to play again.
Yeah, that is true. It's awesome. So I don't own the physical copy, but I've got it on my iPad and I tear it up on there, I'm telling you. So yeah, you can play, Verse AI is very good. You can do play and pass, and you can log in and play against just strangers or whoever's logged in, which is really cool.
So on the AI, are there different levels that you can compete against,
yeah,
like
you've got
expert
easy, medium, and
novice?
hard.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
so,
cool.
and then they've got some expansions out that have like bases, and I can't remember a couple of the other ones, but whenever I can get it, boom, I just throw it in.
Nice.
So, Star Realms. My number 4.
you go.
Two-player game.
My number 4 is Elk Fest, and I had to have a dexterity game in there. It's a flicking game, and you have. And I don't understand why it's called Elk Fest because they're very clearly moose, and not only are they very clearly moose, they are very clearly written as moose in the instruction book. So that's really interesting.
Moose Fest.
But I guess
What country is it produced from? Could it be a translation thing?
I'm not sure.
Maybe just the naming sounded better.
It's
As,
a big animal.
yeah.
Big animal, big
Yeah.
giant, and moose are huge. I don't know if you've ever seen like a comparative picture or in real life. These things are insane. So on the cover, it is a drunk-looking moose, and he's very obviously tipsy, and so you're flicking these little things across and trying to get to the other person's side, and you have 2 little things to put the moose on, and you start on your side and you're trying to put the moose. If the gap is too big, he falls in, and you have a wet moose.
Nobody likes a wet moose.
Nobody likes a wet moose, and that gives the other person an extra turn. So I as with most dexterity games, I'm not good at it, but it's fun. So that is my number 4.
That's a sign of a great
like
game.
it.
If you're
Yeah.
not good at it and you still enjoy it, it makes the
I'm a
list.
hot
That's
mess.
a good game. There you go. Hot mess.
Okie doke, number 3.
Yes,
Cities. Played this one?
I haven't.
No.
You were exposing me. Every time I sit down with you, I'm like, where did this come from? This one's from Peru. We got this from Peru via Canada
Actually,
up from Australia.
This is a Z-Man game.
Okay,
It says it's
good.
made in China. I don't know where
There
it
you go.
actually
I should have
originated,
seen it.
but-
I'm sitting here thinking I should have seen this.
So this plays actually 1 to 4, but first played it as a 2-player. And I guess I didn't preface before we started, but I don't play a lot of 2-player games. I think I get pretty competitive with my husband when we play, so maybe that's that's part of the reason why we don't play as much 2-player. But
So when you
See,
guys
we
are at
have
home,
a lot of them.
yeah, when you
Yeah,
guys
you
are at
know-
home, or you're not playing each other often.
no, not that often. Usually it's more when we go to a board game night, or we've got a group together that comes over to the house and things like that.
If Jason is breathing, Jason wants to play board games.
Sure, right.
So
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, he and Steve get their fix of 2-player games more
I'm
often
sure.
with
I'm
each
sure.
other.
Gotcha.
I'm always getting mad at him. Like, we got that 2-player game so that we could play it, and you went and played it with your boyfriend Steve.
They'll really
Man
like
love.
hearing that. Yeah.
Man
They'll
love,
really
man love,
love
all right.
Hey,
Process.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Bonding,
Yeah.
bonding with board games.
Exactly.
Boom.
So this is a fun little game. It plays maybe 30 minutes, I'd say, but you're laying down different tiles to score points based on different colored areas and different buildings that are laid within the tiles. So there's different little pieces that you'll put on to claim an area, and there's parks and little ponds, and they'll score differently depending on what's surrounding them. So not a super unique mechanic to the game, but it's one of the few 2-players that has been short enough but interesting enough that I've enjoyed playing it.
Now, is this designer? It looks like, is it Martin F? I mean, what is the? I just saw this over here, and it was perplexing to me.
Yeah, I don't know because it's Z-Man, but it says down here copyright 2008 Martin F. 2010 Z-Man.
Yeah, it just threw me when I was
Yeah.
looking at Martin F. So,
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
gotcha. Well, cool. Very
There
neat.
you go.
Very neat. All right, my number 3. A lot of people have heard of. A lot of people have Lost Cities. So,
It almost made my list.
yeah, it just plays so. One, I like that tableau thing with the cards. Is as all you're trying to do is get cards in sequential order, and then you're scoring them. And when you pull a card into your area, I don't know, it's 5 different colored cards. When you pull it into your area and start it, you automatically go -20. And you have to build those cards up to at least hopefully break even.
Stresses me out.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is the
there
one
is
where
some.
Cammy always like totally pwns me.
Yeah, well, yeah, my wife's real good at just, or yeah, you're holding that card and you know they need it, and you're like, they need this card. The problem is, I need to play something too, but I can't
Yeah.
get rid of this card. It's so simple and it's mathy. A lot of times I don't get into, I mean, it's not hard mathy, but you're always like, can I do that? Can I go for that? And and I just really enjoy it. And I do, for some reason, the way those pictures lay out and the way they progress, it somehow does feel like, oh, look at this, I'm going on an expedition.
And the art can tell a lot about a game, and I think that,
agree.
components and art and those sorts of things are parts of games that a lot of people don't think about and talk about beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the experience and what gets you in and keeps you
and it's
playing
fast.
too. So.
I mean, even if you're just getting walloped,
Yeah.
you're like, well, it'll be over soon. And I love the fact that I love as those cards shrink down and you're like, I need that, but it's going down. Or do I pull this card or do I shrink that? Or my wife's burying that thing because she knows she's winning. And she's just, that draw pile's just, she's just bam, bam. And I'm like, don't, stop. And so it's just that the lovely tug of war. Wow, that was very nice.
Yeah.
I should have gotten one more frame there for that. Right. But it's just that nice tug of war that's in there, and I always feel like, wow, I'm trying to work this, or you think you've got a run going, and you set it down, and it turns out you only had like the 9 and the 2.
Oh,
yeah, I know. And you're like, ah. So, Lost Cities, my number 3. All right. 2-player game.
Good one.
Thank you.
My number 3 is Medici versus Strozzi. And I like Medici anyways. It's a, what is that word for it? Oh yeah, it's a...
Rondel.
Not a rondel.
I've never played Medici.
She's never played Medici.
I don't think
we need to
this
fix
is Medici
this.
and Strozzi, though, right?
Yeah, this is the 2-player version of it, basically. And because it's a bidding game.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So you're bidding for wares, which are these cards that you put on your ships, and based on what you've got.
Oh, I have played this.
Yeah, I knew you'd play this.
There's the 4-person Medici game, which is
and
being
it's
reprinted,
just
by the way.
Medici.
Yep.
But Medici and Strozzi is the 2-player game. And actually, my husband and I played this 4 or 5 days ago too. So I do really like that one because I like bidding games.
I can't remember. I know Knizia did Medici. Did he do Medici and Strozzi too? I can't remember if he did it.
You keep asking these questions.
Sorry, I know. I know. And I don't know.
I'm like, I just work here.
Yeah, you just love the game.
Is there a main difference in this game compared to the mechanic of just plain old Medici?
It's well, obviously you're not betting against other people. It's just you and the other person.
Yeah.
And there's an element because you have 3 different harbors that are looking for different things, and you have 3 different ships, and now you've got a smaller ship, a medium ship, and a large ship, so you can put more on one or the other. But of course, if whoever's got the highest of what that is looking for, is going to win that harbor. Okay. So it's. You might really like these cards because it's something that you've been building up on, but it's, you couldn't risk putting the 5 ship over there so the other person won it, and so I like it quite a bit, and so that's my number 2.
All right. Number 2. I really like this game because I like beating my husband at this game. No, I love word games in general. I wore my crossword shirt in honor of this. Yes.
You guys probably can't see this, but it is.
I wasn't close enough to it earlier. I didn't notice that.
it's just random letters, and on her belly it says rabbit.
Yes,
and it's circled.
Wow.
So this is What's My Word? Strictly a 2-player game, but it's a little bit of a deduction game on top of being a word game. So each person is going to pick a secret word, but then you're going to take turns guessing words, actual words of different lengths, and you award your opponent points on their guess based on whether the letters in their word match any letters in your word, or if those letters are in the exact same spot as your secret word. So you're telling them based on the number of points that you give them for each guess, whether they've gotten correct letters and if they're in the right place. So they know the length of your word, and if they guess a 2-letter word and you give them a certain number of points, they may know, okay, I guessed the right first letter of the word.
You would kill me in this.
I'm pretty sure that I played a game similar to this that's like a 1-player game, but it was on Neopets. So yes, that's me admitting that I played Neopets.
Gotcha. Jason would be proud. This is a Griffin game.
Oh,
I
yeah, I noticed
yeah.
that one.
I saw that with a nice linen finish on the
Yes.
box, too.
And the player folders are super nice. I mean, look at the quality.
Ooh.
I'm repping for Jason, by the way. I mean, just look at that. Beautiful.
Actually, that is.
Yeah. High quality
that.
stuff right there.
Wow.
You don't want
Yeah,
to
you
look
can
at that.
see
I
that
kicked
there's
his butt.
used
Oh,
ones
gotcha.
in there, so
Being
she
bad.
has been
Oh,
playing
you would
this.
kill me.
Love word games.
Huh. Very
And this is
well
a good one.
produced, too.
Yep.
You're right. Right on. All right, my number 2 now. Almost my number 1, and it's strictly because it's the game that got me back into the hobby. I did a lot of old Avalon Hill war games, but what happens is, and I think I've told this to you guys before, is I was married to Liz. We didn't have any kids yet, and I would go down and play first-person shooters on my computer. And there was like a weekend, a Saturday, and I'd gotten lost for 2.5 hours on my first-person shooter. And she kind of wandered down and said, it'd be nice if we could do something together, watch a movie or something. And I was like, yeah, and I totally didn't plan to get lost for 2.5 hours. So we went and watched a movie or whatever. And it just so happened in one of my computer gaming magazines, on the second to last page, they had what they called Cardboard Corner. And I used to be a big fan. I've got some of my Avalon Hill stuff that I've had since I was a kid over here. And I noticed that they were talking about Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride is my number 2. They immediately talked about the length of play, 45 minutes and done. I was like, wow, that's unheard of with my old Avalon Hill games, usually.
It's a totally different
Yes.
genre.
They talked about the high production values and the fact that a lot of these games were coming
Yeah.
over from Germany, and they were just really stunning, and they had a nice picture of it. And I thought, you know what?
Little trains.
Yeah, this is trains. This is gaming, so I'm still gaming, and I'll be doing it with her. This might be a nice little crossover. I ordered it in.
She came into the fold.
She did. I ordered it in. I also ordered Puerto Rico, but we'll get to that on a whole nother list. Because Ticket to Ride comes in, and I open it up, and I couldn't believe the production values. And then the rules. I open it up, and I'm like, this is it?
Yeah.
I was used to these 40-page manuals, and I thought it's going to take some time. And then there's 3 actions, and you're just set collecting and then trying to get to your secret locations. And Ticket to Ride, of course, as everyone or most of you know, it's a gateway game for hobby board games. We played it. She was a little like, games, and then we played, and she's like, this is awesome. Let's play again. And it was a weeknight. We played again. Then we played 3 times. She's like, I would play this 4, but it's almost midnight, and I got to go to work. I'm like, wow. And she was, the next day, she's like, we're playing that again. And for like 2 weeks, we just played the heck out of Ticket to Ride. And then she said, there's got to be more games like this. And that will be my number 1 in a bit. But Ticket to Ride is my number 2.
I love that story.
It's so cute.
Yes, sorry, I've told that before, but it just, boom.
It's a good one.
Yeah, we were immediately ensconced in board gaming. And now, this.
Right?
Yes, dedicated space.
Well,
Beautiful thing.
that's kind of funny because my number 2 is kind of a similar story. Jason and I are both come from gaming backgrounds, but we didn't really get heavy into it for a while. I had already been doing the cosplay stuff, Renaissance festivals, those sorts of things, but he decided to go to BGG with some of my friends and mutual friends, but originally my friends. So.
That's good.
But
news, full
I was like, well, fine, just go to Texas with my friends, whatever. But so he goes and he purposely made a point to try to find a 2-player game so that he could come bring it home and have that for us to play because he was excited to play games with me. And we'd been playing every once in a while and everything, but obviously this BGG really kicked it up a notch, and we just kind of dove into it after that. But he picked up a game called Morels, and it's kind of a set collecting game that you have some cards here, and you're going into the forest and you're collecting mushrooms, different kinds of mushrooms that get you different points. And he went ahead and got the special edition with the little sticks and everything. And he was like, I just thought of you because it's a 2-player game and you like mushrooms. And So yeah, so that Morels is my number 2.
Cool. Very cool. Now, was that the first time you went to BGG?
That was his first BG.
Wait, do you remember the year?
A long time ago in a galaxy far away.
Boom. All right. Long time ago.
I think he's on his 6th or something.
I know.
So-
I can't. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I can remember mine. So sorry to throw out the question.
Right.
I think mine was 09, but I'm not sure.
Number 1, Red 7.
Asmode.
Such a good game. So first time I played this was 2-player. And I think I've only played it. No, I've played it 3-player. I take that back. I was going to say I think I've only played it 2-player, but it goes up to 4. And I think there's been a lot of talk about Red 7 over the past year or so. But it's a game where you're laying down different colored and numbered cards, and the goal is to have the winning card. Whatever you're laying down, you have to be the winning card, and if you're not, you're out. But each card has a different rule on it. So you can play a card down to the middle, which changes the rule of the game for as long as that card is down. So you could be playing the highest value card, you could be playing somebody who has the most cards of the same color, somebody who has the most even numbers, or what have you. So as long as you've played to that card rule and you are the winning card, the game keeps going until someone can't play the winning card anymore. So it sounds a little weird. It's easier to get the gist of the game when you see like a sample round. But it's pretty thinky for just a simple card game. You can get really wrapped around the wheel because you're not only having to play to that particular hand, that particular round, you're trying to set yourself up for what else you have in your hand in the future to stay alive for the rest of the game.
How long
Super
does
fun.
it take?
I don't know.
20 minutes?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah.
Pretty fast.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
Let me see. Who's the designer? Do you know off the top of
I
your head?
don't know.
Does it even say? Oh, Carl Chuddick. There you go. And Chris. Yeah. Well, there you go. Because Carl did Glory to Rome and his I got it the Mattayan Eye, which I can never say right. Cool. Well, that makes a lot of
fun
sense
one.
then. Wow. All right, my number 1 is picking up from that story of Ticket to Ride is Carcassonne.
Oh.
All right, we went and picked it up, and we start playing that simple tile-laying game, and it works well with 3 or 4, but I love it 2-player because it's so strategic. What you put down, what she's putting down, you know, I'm going in and stealing her city when I complete it, and she's looking at me like, oh. And so it's got a little bit of that take that in there.
Yeah.
And you know, and then and getting the farm and getting your farmer down there, so you're stealing all those or walling it off or open it up. There's just some of that. Take that. And then it ended up being this real cool thing where my dad comes and visits. And when, you know, as a kid, we always played card games whenever we had family reunions back in Iowa. And I start showing him some of this world of these games. And he plays Carcassonne. He's like, oh, wow. And my brother, who was still living at home at the time, calls and says, what did you show Dad? He bought this game. He's recording things. He went and bought an Xbox 360 because he was playing my brother's 360, and they had it as one of the, like, I don't know, you get off of Steam or something,
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
it. And he was just playing this thing to death.
Wow.
And my brother said, hey, Dad, that's my only hobby. So Dad went and bought his own 360 just so he
Nice.
could play it.
Just
So,
for Carcassonne.
yeah, and I'm telling you. Now, he passed probably about a year after that. But as we're going through his things, my brother's like, here, look at this. Not only do I want you to have his 360, he had like a folder of like different plays you can do with Carcassonne. And I was like, wow.
Awesome.
So we didn't get a chance to come together and play much of that again, but it was so cool that it was that kind of
Yeah.
playing experience. So my number 1, Carcassonne.
It's always good to share hobbies, whether it's board games or movies or music. I get so excited when I play a band for somebody and then they're like, oh my God, I'm in love with this. So that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you very much.
Now, my number one is another 2-player version of a good game. It's All Creatures Big and Small, the Agricola 2-player game. I love Agricola anyways, and the whole Caverna and Agricola and all of those. And with All Creatures Big and Small, it's lighter, so it's something that you can play in a shorter amount of time. It still has that same kind of feeling, that same resources and making pens for your creatures, and it's competitive. You do get that, but it's not so competitive that you're like at each other's throat, So my number one is Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small.
Is
Very
it
cool.
sheep cuddling?
Sheep cuddling. All the sheep.
Yeah.
But you're making little pens for your cows and pigs.
Adorable.
Wow.
It's got animals in it, okay? That's all that matters.
There's animals.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, so that was a great list. Anything you're doing with cosplay currently? I haven't talked to you in a while.
Oh my goodness. Well, currently I'm doing an awful lot of working on a house. So
True. You
all
did
of
tell
my
me
stuff
that.
is packed away, and
Yes.
I am hoping that we get everything done in time for me to get all my costumes done in time for stuff that's coming up in the summer. And
Now, is summer the big cosplay season?
the cosplay season started. Last month I went to Colorado, Colorado Springs for Galaxy Fest, which was a great big blast with Suzanne Lambden, who writes the Dead Heart series, and she took me as a cosplayer for her book series. So I dressed up as a character from her series.
Wow.
So
Cool.
it was a lot of fun.
If you guys haven't, go back and watch the episode where we dress up as the Harry Potter crew. So very,
We actually
very.
have two, right?
We do.
have
Yeah,
Halloween
there are two.
and
Yes,
the
'cause we do
intellectual
the Halloween.
properties.
Yes,
Right,
and
yeah.
then I start getting hot.
And you start freaking
Yeah.
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
the eye.
Yeah, my eyes cracking around.
It was great.
Mad Eye Moody was I. That was a fun one. A lot of good hits on that. Go back and take a look at that one if you get a chance. Anything you want to share? Anything going on? You don't have to if you don't.
Nothing
All
going
right,
on.
cool. I've got the basement's pretty much done.
It's looking great.
Yeah, over there is
say.
thank you, my Scotch Test Dummy set. The bar is over there. If you haven't watched my Scotch review, we do Scotch and bourbon reviews with Scotch Test Dummies. Please go watch that. That's going really well. So we got the bar over there. We got our gaming bench over there. And it's just nice to be down there. I got to get blinds. People are watching the set with the Scotch, and I've got a window without blinds. It's got cardboard on it. And they're like, "Did you run out of money? You run out of money?" I'm like, "Money got a little tight near there." Yeah. So, yeah, money started getting a little tight.
I
as we
gotta
were running
teach
in.
you.
So, yeah. And
I
I
gotta
started
teach
getting.
you like the thrifting
You
thing.
do. But I want to match, and so I want to get these faux wood blinds, which were easy. But it's kind of like I ran out of energy a little bit.
And it's blinds, board games.
Yeah.
Blinds,
Right.
board
Yeah.
games. I mean, priorities, people.
Right.
Right?
You bet. I need to have like a blinds
Well, and see, that's
review
the thing
show.
that I have to keep explaining to Jason is, we do need the money that you keep spending on board games on the house so that you have the room for said board games.
That is true. It is nice, I got to tell you. I've had some of these, and were in boxes for the last, some of them for 3 years. Some of my old Avalon Hill stuff I hadn't seen since
Do you
Colorado.
even forget that you have them?
Yeah, I ran across a couple duplicates. I was like, oh my God, I bought 2 of these. Or I sourced them somehow. Now, I did make some with some of the old Avalon Hill games. I would see like, ooh, I really want that game, but it was a pack of 8. And so I knew if I bought that pack, I was going to get some
Yeah.
duplicates because it was some estate sale or whatever. But yeah, I'm going to try to do, I've got some review copies that came in, but I've started doing a few reviews of older games too.
Oh, nice.
Just because I kind of like delving back in time
Yeah.
a little bit.
And some people may not be aware of them.
Yeah.
Or maybe newer to the hobby.
Right.
Yeah, and I've pulled out a couple that have rule books on them that I'm like, oh my God. But then I pulled out some gems, like check this out. This is called Price of Freedom. Now, this is Red Dawn
love
in a
the
box.
art.
Yeah, this is Red Dawn in a box. 1984-ish, Russia's invaded.
Wow.
It's an RPG that you can play as a war game or just play as a war-ish type RPG. So, and I had, when I sourced it, I had one of the expansions, and what did I have to do? Just last week, I had to pick up Your Own Private Idaho. Boom, it brings in choppers. So yeah, I am geeking out.
Box fart.
I'm geeking out. Yeah, box fart on. And that's from West End Games. So I'm just having a blast with that. It's nice to have the wall of games in the background.
Looks great.
All right, sorry guys. I am rambling.
Tangent.
You need to slap me around. Went down a little rabbit trail. All right, see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.